Welcome to South Bend, the site for this matchup between the Texas Longhorns and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Here, an early Big Ten showdown, Mike, between two offenses that are looking to have a big night. I'm David Royan in the booth with me, Mike Peters, the commissioner of the CFSL, and Mike, both offenses, very explosive, very talented. Could we be in for a lot of fireworks?
Well, it's possible. Notre Dame scored 38 points a week ago. Texas scored 48. So I think it's very possible that we could see a lot of high scoring. The defense has struggled a little bit as well. So if you bet the over, my money is that you probably got a little bit better odds than you did if you went the under.
Notre Dame will begin this drive. Ball spotted at their own 30 and from the left hash, Leo Asiata in the gun. And he'll go with a quick handoff to Kane St. the third, a mighty stiff arm for the small tailback to get 8.
Well, Saint's been a big part of this offense for the last year plus, and he starts off with a nice one there. Last season against Texas struggled a bit, though. Only 7 carries for 39 yards. We'll see if he can turn that around.
It's the 5th meeting in CFSL history between these two teams, and Notre Dame leads the series 3-1 as Asiata, the big quarterback, trying to get traction, but he will lose a yard against just in time, the former Hurricane.
Well, right now the Texas defense is doing a decent job of keeping everything in front of them. They're not necessarily tackling the best, as they have missed a few tackles, but they at least forced them into a third down and got an opportunity to get them off the field.
Single back set out of the pistol, and Asiata with 2 tight ends on the field. One of them coming in motion as Asiata dancing, checks it down at the feet of the walk-on, and a quick 3 and out for the Fighting Irish.
Wasn't the prettiest drive defensively for Texas, but I think it was effective. It got them onto the 3 and out. Now it's time for their offense to see what they can do. Vito Pepino, player of the week last week. We'll see if he can duplicate that performance this week.
Decent return, but a hard hit on it out to the 24 on Brandon Black. And there you see Cash Jackson, one of the targets for Vito Pepino. Last week, 5 catches, 99 yards for Jackson. Pepino, though, 439 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions in the win last week, as it's a read option keeper. And Pepino starting the ground running, but he's hit hard by Solo, 3 yards short of the first down.
Well, that's something that we saw a little bit of last week from Pepino. 13 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown. So he's got some athleticism. He can get outside the pocket and move. He can also stand in the pocket and throw darts. We saw that last week. Great option to have in the backfield at quarterback.
Trips bottom of the screen, Pepino. Quick throw over to the right side on the quick out, and Brandon Fowler gets the first down.
Well, just a little short pass on the outside, picking up the first down. That's all you really need. Don't need to get too creative, and they got exactly what they needed.
So first down and 10 now for the Longhorns. Ball spotted at their own 46-yard line. 2-by-2 set, and to the left of him is Taraj Walker as a quick throw over the middle and caught. Bouncing around the defenders is Oliver Fields for a modest gain.
Well, it was a nice little catch by Fields. He tried to find some room to run after it got bottled up a little bit, but still nice athletic play overall.
3 wide. Pepino on the give, and Taraj Walker outside to the left gets a couple, but it's still 3rd and medium here for the Longhorns.
Now, Taraj Walker's in a senior season with Texas. Interesting of note, he's never averaged 5 yards per carry in his career, but he averaged 5.9 last week. Wants to go out with a bang.
Pepino gonna tuck it and run. He's got the first down, but he is rocked right over the middle by Shalizzi.
Well, it kind of reminds me of a couple of linebackers they had before, Aaron Davis and Shoto Pence. Now Shalizzi fitting in that same mold, laying the big hits over the middle.
We're wide, trip on the screen, and the give to Taraj Walker. A little counter run, showing a power and a burst of speed to get 7.
Well, interestingly, they're focusing on the run early on here. Yeah, as we talked about it, Pepino, player of the week last week, mostly through the air with over 400 yards passing. They're starting off running. Maybe they're setting up the throw later on.
Pepino to throw here on 2nd down. A bullet over the middle for Thor Gunderson, the 3-star, who gets 14 yards here and all the way down to the 21.
Well, there's a lot of different options. 7-star level receivers on this Texas offense. They can run a lot of different guys out there, all of who can make plays for them.
Receiver in motion as Pepino gonna tuck it, trying to get outside to the left, and in a foot race with blocking down the left sideline. Touchdown, Texas.
Well, it took him a little bit of time to get going. Started a little bit slow, but once he hit the sideline, he accelerates down the sideline. Nobody's able to get him, and right into the end zone. Great drive there by Texas to take the early lead on the road here in South Bend.
So an excellent scoring drive for Texas, and Mike, it's one that you point out, predominantly on the ground. Now, they mixed in a few pass plays, but for the most part, it was a rushing offense, one that we didn't see a lot of last week. It was more through the air for the Longhorns.
Well, it's possible that they saw something in this Notre Dame defense. And, they gave up 235 yards rushing to Auburn last week, so maybe they decided they wanted to go a little bit more run heavy. Worked for Auburn. So far, it's working for them.
Well, so far for Notre Dame, their first drive, they didn't have a lot working for them. A quick 3 and out, and now their second drive looking to come up with a little bit more as a quick throw over to the left side from Asiata finds Dexter Jackson in a gain of 18.
Well, now the pressure is on Notre Dame a little bit. It's still early on, but they don't want to fall behind and stay behind Texas. They want to get some momentum going. They went 3 and out on the first drive, so it's important to open up with a good drive. They started with the first down to Dexter Jackson. Now they just need to build off of it.
From their own 45-yard line and at the left hash, Leo Asiata to throw yet again over the middle. Pass caught. Gambas gets it out to the 40.
Well, Austin Gambas, the new addition to this team, trying to fill the very large shoes of Dijon Swan. Only had 5 catches, 38 yards last week. They definitely want to focus on him more.
Asiata on 1st and 10, 3-man rush, and he has to swing it out to Pearson Gillum, who gets 3 yards. Last time Gillum faced these Texas Longhorns, had over 100 yards receiving.
Well, Gillum's one of those guys. He's been a complimentary piece, but he's had some really big games. So if Texas isn't careful, he could have another one of those big games tonight.
3 wide, and Asiata heels at the left hash. From the Texas 44 and the give on the counter, Kane St. III ran right in to trouble with Tyson Kane Blade.
Well, right now it's only been a couple of plays, but Texas is doing a good job keeping Caden St. III in front of him, not letting him get past the initial wave of defenders.
3rd and medium for the Fighting Irish. The 5-man rush as St. out of the angle route there and gets that first down against the Texas Longhorns.
Well, they caught him in a zone blitz there. Nick Hartley, the defensive end, was back in coverage. Wound up coming up and having to make that play. A good call against the defense.
Asiata 3-man rush right over the middle. There's Gambas reaching for the first down marker, but the defense will keep him just shy of it.
Well, Notre Dame's doing a good job of rebounding from giving up that touchdown. They're putting together a very good drive of their own, and now they got themselves inside the red zone. Now they got to punch it in.
Asiata, 1 incompletion on the first drive. He's been 5 for 5 since on this drive as St. off the speed option, able to get just enough to move the sticks.
Well, it's not going to help your yards per carry average, but it's going to count on the score sheet as a first down. They pick up 1. That's what they needed. New set of downs from the 16. Really good shot at trying to tie this one up.
Ragnar Wood coming up with the tackle for the Longhorns as Asiata floating it to the corner, batted away.
Well, he went to Pearson Gillum there, but good coverage. And, I wasn't sure when I heard that they were going to use these pro combats, but, it's a little bit nice change of pace for Texas out there.
Rocking the icy whites tonight. It's a handoff up the middle. Jesse Dozier getting 2 yards there, but it's still a long 3rd down.
It is, and Texas doing a good job of forcing them into a long 3rd down. We'll see if they can get them off the field and hold them to a field goal. See if Asiata, the former player of the year, can make something happen.
Halfback screen for Dozier, and Dozier cuts it back inside into the teeth of the Texas defense, and that brings up 4th down for the Fighting Irish.
Well, Texas did what they needed to. Now they're going to force a field goal from the right hash and a short distance. It's not the easiest kick to make.
This one from 27 yards away, and it is good for Notre Dame's kicker, Amy Shalizzi. And they've cut it down to a 4-point game, Mike, but they did it very differently from Texas. Texas's first drive, very run-heavy. Notre Dame's second drive, a lot of passing plays being drawn up.
Well, the difference is that Notre Dame's pass or run offense isn't really getting going. I do want to give a shout-out to Amy Shalizzi. We didn't mention this last week, but the first official female player in the league. Every other female that's created the player has created a male, and for her, we allowed her to make that one. So going forward, we're going to allow females to make female-named players in the game. So shout out to Amy Shalizzi for being the first, the pioneer of sorts.
History being made in the CFSL, and Texas would like to add to their CFSL history as they go with a pitch and room to run on the option here out into the open field. Brandon Fowler getting it all the way down inside the Texas 45.
Well, I talked about the depth earlier on that Texas has. They got 5 wide receivers, 2 user tight ends. And Fowler's the 5th wide receiver on their depth chart, comes up with a big play there. And they can just rotate guys in, makes them very tough to stop. They can stay fresh throughout the game. And I think that was a big part of them last week. He's going to play into this game.
Pepino dancing, running, able to slip through traffic and into the open field. A first down for the Longhorns.
Well, he showed a little bit of acceleration. I thought he was going to run away, and then all of a sudden Minka Solo and Zeus Williams converged on him. But a great run there up the middle. I'm still getting used to the Longhorn and the number on the side of the helmet. It's a little different, but I don't hate it.
It's a nice change of pace as you head.
I think this is the first time we've seen him.
It is, yeah.
In our history.
It is. From the gun, Vito Pepino setting up the halfback screen for Taraj Walker. And he's got room and blocking with a first down out to the 11.
Walker's getting involved, running the ball. Now they're getting them involved onto the backfield, catching the ball. Can be a very dual threat out of that backfield. They're using them that way. See what they can do here at the 11.
Brandon Black checks in at the tailback spot. And they use him on the midline read as Pepino stumbling forward, gets it down inside the 10. Second down upcoming.
Well, they're keeping using Pepino. He's got 5 carries, 57 yards already. Nice debut for him running the ball in the first quarter. Give him a lot of options down here inside the 10.
Trips, bottom of the screen. Brandon Black still in the backfield. Gunderson will join him on the motion. Triple option, the pitch. Thor Gunderson gets it inside the 5. 3rd and short now.
I feel like he took that one a little bit too far outside. I think he should have either turned it inside or kept it outside. He just ran and his pitch man a little bit too far outside. Gunderson was too close to the sideline when he pitched it. Didn't have a lot of room to work with.
So from the 4 on 3rd and 3, needing to get it just inside the 1 for a first down. Midline read. Pepino turned away at the 2 by Shalizzi.
Well, I thought he was going to get the touchdown, but he tried to carry it too far outside. And a good job by Shalizzi shutting it down there. And now they're going to force the field goal attempt here by Skylar Quall.
So Quall puts it through, makes it a 7-point game inside of a minute and a half here to play in this opening quarter.
Well, Notre Dame's got an opportunity to tie it up. They didn't get the touchdown on the last drive. They only got a field goal. They do a good job holding Texas in the last drive to just a field goal. Now if they can put a good drive together, get a touchdown, they can tie it up early in the second quarter, most likely.
They were able to drive the length of the field. And the question becomes, can they avoid some of the problems that we saw Michigan have last night, which is you can move the ball, but you can't get into the end zone.
Well, on 3rd downs, they're struggling a little bit too. That's where Texas is beating them right now.
Halfback screen to begin the series, and Kane Saint the 3rd bottled up at the line of scrimmage.
Well, they're also beating Caden Saint the 3rd. He hasn't been able to run well. He hasn't run it a lot, but hasn't been a lot, even though when they went the speed option, it didn't work really well. Texas did a good job of shutting down the run, makes it harder to pass.
2-by-2 set, halfback screen to the other side, and Saint the 3rd again. Wrestled down for a loss of 2, courtesy of the defensive tackle, Jeremy Fears.
Well, Fears does a good job. Reads that one, was not fooled. Like, I just saw this play going to the other side. Isn't going to confuse me. Gets over there, number 7, taking down number 7. Now it's forcing a long 3rd and 12. Tough spot to be in, deep in your own end for Notre Dame.
Leo Asiata in the gun, 3 wide. Heels at his own 10. He'll look to throw and push it downfield to the right sideline, batted away, nearly intercepted by Connor Looney.
Yeah, Looney was able to get in there and almost pick that one off. Either way, good stop there by Texas. Once again, going to force the punt. They're going to get good field position and an opportunity to create some separation.
Well, 2 out of the last 3 drives for Notre Dame have been 3 and outs as Brandon Black trying to set up his team with good field position. He will. Gets it down to the Notre Dame 38. Where this Fighting Irish defense, they're having a tough time coming up with stops.
They are, and this Texas offense is just a well-oiled machine so far early in the season. Notre Dame's going to have to get creative.
Pepino, quick throw on the slant, and it will fall incomplete.
Okay, it took a while updating that. I didn't know what was going on there. It was interesting throws, a little bit behind him. He tried to make the catch, but he absorbs the contact, not able to hold on to it.
Trips bunch to the right of the formation with Vito Pepino. looking to throw. Gonna tuck it and run into trouble, and down he goes. Sacked for a loss of 5.
John Thomas getting in on the action there. Picks up his first sack of his career, and he just barrels in under the right tackle. And actually, that was Al Walker that created the pressure. Then John Thomas was the beneficiary as they had the defensive ends inside, linebackers outside. Nice job there by the defense. They forced a long third down now for Texas, who had great field position, might not come away with any points.
4 wide, tries to bomb the screen. Pepino taking a shot to the right side. He's got his man. Touchdown, Cash Jackson.
Well, Cash Jackson was the guy they brought in to be the number 1 guy. Although he and Oliver Fields are both highly skilled guys, Cash Jackson beats the defense there, creates some separation. Pepino finds him, and now a 14-point lead as we get ready to head into the second quarter.
Cash Jackson cashing in on the lapse in coverage by the Notre Dame defense as the Longhorns now up 2 scores with 1 play left here in this opening quarter, and it will be the kick return out across to the 22 by Gamas, and that's how we end the first. Texas on a roll, and the Fighting Irish looking to fight back. You're watching the CFSL on PX1 Sports on YouTube Live. Start of the second quarter, tight end coming in motion for Leo Asiata. Ball spot at his own 22, and he will look, throwing to the left side, and coming back for that was Gambas, but he can't haul it in.
Well, Gambas has got to hold on to those. If you want to replace Dijon Swan, who's arguably the greatest receiver we've seen in this league, you've got to hold on to balls like that.
2-by-2 set and halfback screen again as Caden St. III, a little bit more blocking this time for him, gets him to the 30 and sets up a short third down for Notre Dame.
What's the saying, David? If at first you don't succeed, try again. Well, they tried, and then they tried again, and finally they got a decent gain out of it.
Notre Dame looking to fare better on third down. They're 1 for 4 so far as a pass over the middle. Caught, and P.J. Jackson gets 6.
Got a lot of Jacksons on offense here. Like the Jackson 3. We just need a couple more. We got P.J. Jackson, Dexter Jackson. We got Cash Jackson on the other side. A lot of Jackson taking on here.
They go with a quick throw, a little bit of a screen for Austin Gamas, and it only nets a yard for Notre Dame. So they're playing really close to the line of scrimmage.
They are. I'm still waiting for one of those shots downfield. Right now, Texas just isn't giving them a look that they like.
A lot of off coverage right now for this Texas defense as Asiata steps up, has to go underneath for Jesse Dozier. Or no, excuse me, Pearson Gillum, who gets 5.
Well, another third down here for Notre Dame. And again, Texas has been winning most of these battles. We got to see if Notre Dame can convert here, keep this drive alive.
2 tight ends on the field. Pressure up the middle. They go short. And P.J. Jackson made the catch but cannot convert.
Well, they're only 2 for 6 now on third downs. Texas continuing to win there. I don't like the play call there. You got to go past the first down marker. They were hoping the tight end could maybe break some tackles. Early on, Texas was having that problem. Not so much now as we're in the second quarter.
So this punt angled towards that left sideline, and it will be pretty decent field position here for Texas. Ball spot at their own 32.
Yeah, it wasn't a great punt, a little bit off the side of the foot. Another great opportunity here for Texas to create more separation on the scoreboard.
And off, Taraj Walker breaks a tackle, cuts it back inside, and the vision by the senior able to get 12 out of the run.
Well, I think one of the things that benefits Taraj Walker is having Brandon Black, another true halfback back there, gives him a lot of different things that they can do, and also gives him a blow when he needs one.
They go read option keeper, and Al Walker able to get over there and slow down Pepino, but he's still able to pick up 5.
Hey, if you can get 5 yards every time you run the ball, you're going to be in good shape. They're not going to get you off the field. And Notre Dame's going to have to do something to limit these running gains.
Well, Pepino last week averaged 5.5 yards a carry. Walker 5.9 as Pepino again on the midline read. He's got blocking, room to run, touchdown Texas.
What a great job of blocking downfield by the Texas team. I didn't think Pepino was going to be able to break free on that one, but he picked up great blocking downfield, both by his lineman and one of his receivers, and just accelerated down the sideline. Explosive is the way that you described this Texas offense. They put up 48 points last week. They've already got 24, and we're barely in the second quarter.
2 rushing touchdowns tonight for Vito Pepino. And you might look at that stat and say, oh, that's pretty good. The more impressive part of that is that both of his touchdown runs have been 20-plus yard touchdown runs.
Yeah, he's not the guy that you normally look at and be like, yeah, he's a game breaker with his legs, but he's shown very good athleticism, and he's been able to find the crease and work his way downfield for big gains.
Read option keeper here as Asiata tried to cut it back inside, and Connor Looney put the brakes on that run.
Well, that was one of those situations where they said, anything you can do, I can do better. That's just not true in this case.
From the gun, Leo Asiata, 3 wide. And Saint the third to his right. Quick throw, left sideline, P.J. Jackson brought down right at the line of scrimmage. And so the problems that Notre Dame's having is not enough passes more than 10 yards downfield.
Well, you know what really fires up your offense when you get stopped on a quarterback option is throwing a 1-yard pass to your tight end out in the flat.
Halfback screen, left side on 3rd and 9. Kane Saint the third, nowhere to go. Jeremy Fears there to stop him again.
I don't know if Notre Dame is a little hungover from the upset win last week, or if last week was an aberration and what we saw in the preseason was more of what we're going to see out of Notre Dame, because right now they look completely disinterested in playing offense in this game.
Brandon Black running into traffic against the special teams unit. And, you know, we're still seeing fireworks, Mike, just not from both offenses, mainly from Texas so far.
Well, this is has the makings of a Miami versus Michigan first half that we saw in week 1.
Draw play, Taraj Walker bottled up and yet still somehow able to fight forward, got a couple of yards. So this Notre Dame defense, Mike, at this point, they really need to come up with a turnover.
Well, I think they need something to get their offense going a little bit and fire up their offense, maybe get a turnover.
Hand off, Walker losing a yard, courtesy of Minka Solo and Al Walker. So 3rd and 9 now for the Longhorns.
Well, Minka Solo's kind of been overshadowed a little bit in this defense this season, but he's already got 6 tackles here. We're not even halfway through the second quarter, so a big game shaping up for him.
Pepino steps up into the pocket, throwing over the middle, and Dominic Shalizzi there to knock it down.
Yeah, ill-advised pass. You don't want to throw across your body. You definitely don't want to do it off of 1 foot. He got lucky that wasn't a turnover. Shalizzi just bats it away, and now Notre Dame gets a stop, forces them to punt. We'll see if they can get something going on offense.
Punt fielded from inside the 20, out across to the 33-yard line is Minka Solo, and we'll take this opportunity to give a shout-out to everybody in the live chat. Dorian Cope, Corey Dickerson, Juby, let's see, Connor Looney, Jacob Schneider, Josh Clayton, Matt Pack, Isaiah Fowler, and anybody else I might miss, I apologize, is down the right sideline, Jesse Dozier. Biggest play of the night for the Fighting Irish.
Well, they're going to have to do more of that. You're already down by 21. You're going to have to use those medium to long passes if you want to move the ball down the field, create some scoring opportunities. You can't live with 1 and 2 yard pickups and losses of yardage. You can't live with 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s. So they got to do more of that. We'll see if they can stay consistent with it.
Single back set, 2 tight ends to the right, but they're going to motion one of them into the backfield. Play fake, Asiata. Short to the left side, P.J. Jackson gets 7, 2nd down.
Well, they've gone to Jackson 4 times now, and that's his biggest gain, a 7-yard pickup there. Again, I wouldn't mind seeing him try to use them a little bit deeper downfield to get them to play off a little bit. But they're continuing to pass the ball. They need to create some running room, though. They've got to create some room in the secondary by running the ball, and they haven't been able to do that effectively so far.
Gillum, the man in motion from right to left. Speed option, the pitch. Kane Saint the third, not enough for a first down.
That's about as big of a advantage as you can have at the snap. They had a defender come in and they pitch it. Saint had some room, and Texas just closed very quickly and still forced the 3rd down.
They're going to come out 3rd inches. The give, Saint bottled up in the backfield for a loss of 2. Tried to bounce it outside, Mike, and he bounced it in to Nick Harley.
Well, there was nothing up the middle and there was nothing on the outside due to Harley. Just right now, Texas's front 7 is just playing better than the line and the blockers of Notre Dame, and it's not giving them a whole lot to work with.
Fake punt, and the punter standing in and throws it away. So they go for the fake punt, and the receiver downfield was not looking for the football, though I don't know that the punter could have got it there even if he was.
Well, that looks about what you would expect when a punter throws the ball. I think that didn't surprise anybody,
No.
at least the outcome.
Pepino, he'll show you how to throw a ball down the field and up the right hash. Thor Gunnarsson down to the 6.
Well, he left it behind him just a bit. If he puts even one more foot of air under that, I think that's a touchdown. Gunnarsson had to slow down just a tad when he brought this one in. And it was a pretty perfectly placed ball. He did slow up a little bit on that one, but great connection either way. And I talked about it, an opportunity to be Miami versus Michigan. This could be worse than Miami versus Michigan. Notre Dame's got themselves in trouble right now.
6 of 8 for 134 yards, and Pepino's going to add to it. Over the middle, pass caught, touchdown, Texas.
Well, they got the walk-on involved. Their number 6 wide receiver on the depth chart. They're like, you know what? These 7 star-level receivers, they're doing too much. Let's get the walk-on involved here midway through the second quarter. He gets a touchdown. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. Everybody gets a touchdown for Texas tonight.
So the extra point by Skylar Twall is good. And Mike, you mentioned it. It's a little bit worse than what it was between Miami and Michigan. That one was 28-3, and the Michigan fought their way back. This is 31-3, and Notre Dame offensively has got to find a way to fight their way back. And maybe it'll start here with Austin Gambus out to the 45-yard line in Texas territory, but a clipping call will negate that.
Well, so interesting thing here. Not only did they get a big return, but then they got a penalty on it. But you also used your number 1 wide receiver on the return and maybe gassed them out a little bit for later in this drive or later in the game. So that's an important thing to watch because that's basically a wasted play and a drain on the stamina.
From their own 16 now to the clipping call by Carlos Luzon, the 3-star. And speaking of 3-stars, John Hall picks up 5.
Well, again, let's go back to what doesn't work and throw short over and over on this offense.
Asiata on second down, standing in, goes short. Left side coming back for that was Gillum. Trying to turn upfield to get the first down. Got close, but not quite there.
Well, I'm starting to think that maybe it had something to do with Leo Asiata changing from 11 to 13. Maybe it's a little unlucky for Leo.
From the gun, Asiata over the middle. Pass is caught by Dexter Jackson, a name we have not heard much of tonight.
Well, they completed that one, but they had a wide open receiver on the backside, Jesse Dozier. They brought a blitz off of that side. Asiata doesn't recognize it because it's to his backside, and instead he throws it in the coverage. It worked out for him, but they could have had a much bigger play on the bottom of the screen.
Asiata throwing short, and Pearson Gillum drops it. That was going to be a 7-8 yard gain. Instead, it's 2nd and 10.
I think it's something with the gloves that Notre Dame wears because they have had problems with drops for their entire history in this league.
Empty backfield. Asiata under duress. Can't get the pass off clean. 3rd down for the Irish.
Dick Hartley's a one-man wrecking machine on that defensive line right now. He is all over the place, and once again, forcing the long 3rd down for Notre Dame.
From the gun. Asiata over the middle. There's Kane St. the third going nowhere. Ran into Adrian Taylor first, and then just in time, the Miami transfer stops him as Notre Dame will punt.
Well, if you're going to punt the ball, at least trying to go for it further downfield and throw an incompletion. I don't understand why they consistently throw short of the marker, and it's just not working out for them.
Brandon Black on the return, able to get out to the 32 in Texas. Their offense saying, yeah, let's keep putting up points. Let's get this lead. Let's add to it, keep it secure, because Texas, Mike, in their history against Notre Dame, they only got their first win against them last season. Notre Dame leads the series 3-1.
Well, and Juby wants to continue the winning ways at Texas with his start at that program.
A throw into traffic, and yet somehow Cash Jackson snags it and holds on.
Yeah, I don't like the throw in the traffic, but if you're going to go to your number 1 receiver and he can haul it down like that, why not?
Pepino looking all day, throws short over the middle, and that pass is caught by Carson Meeks.
Well, right now you got to give credit to the Notre Dame defense because they are making it tough. They're not giving him a lot of open windows, and he's throwing in the coverage. But credit to Texas that they're making it happen.
From the gun, Pepino on the draw, Taraj Walker able to get it across the midfield stripe, gets a yard out of the play, but not much more.
Well, Notre Dame's defense is fired up. They're not giving Texas a whole lot of easy yards here, but they're going to need more than just a few stops. They're going to need to force a turnover or two.
Empty backfield, Pepino. That throw over the middle. I had a receiver coming in for it. It looked like the receiver wasn't even looking for it.
Well, that one was just off target, maybe a little miscommunication. I don't know what was going on there, but wasn't a good one, but they got one more chance here on third down.
Trips, bottom of the screen. Pepino against a four-man rush. Goes short, Taraj Walker to first down and more, stretching across for the Notre Dame 35.
Well, Texas hears me say that you shouldn't go halfway to the marker on third down. And Pepino's like, yeah, Taraj Walker's got it. He dumps it off. Caden Saint III, P.J. Jackson, among others, haven't been able to do it for Notre Dame, but Texas is executing it much more efficiently, and now they got an opportunity to make this a 35-point game going into the half.
Pistols, or out of the gun, excuse me, from inside the 35. Blitz coming, Pepino over the middle again, and with some running room, Lenny Lyons gets 10.
And again, another one of those 5 receivers that they got along with the 2 tight ends, just mixing up receivers up and down the field.
4 wide, trips top the screen, Pepino. 3-man rush, stands in up the left seam, had 6 points. Lyons drops it though.
Well, he gets the first one, and then they go back to him, and he disappoints his quarterback. Might be a little bit before they look to him again.
3rd and inches, Brandon Black checks in at the tailback position, and Pepino going to run the speed option with him. The pitch, and Black the first down out to the 20.
You know, I kind of feel like Pepino's showing off a little because he could have taken that himself, but he's like, no, I'm going to pitch it, and we're still going to get it.
From the gun, Pepino standing in, throwing end zone, batted away. Great coverage by Greg Brault.
Well, it was good coverage, but you'd really like to see Brault come away with that. The 3-star corner was in position and didn't try to pick it, was happy just batting it away.
Empty backfield following the missed opportunity by the Notre Dame defense, and Pepino going short over the middle. Jackson, 1st and goal now for the Longhorns.
Well, you might see that non-interception turn out to cost Notre Dame 7 points here.
Empty backfield again following the no huddle as Pepino, 4-man rush, going to take a run, breaks 1 sack, but he cannot get away from John Thomas.
Well, they're going to have to hurry here. Great job by John Thomas to get the sack. Now Texas is going to have to hurry if they want to try to get the touchdown.
Empty backfield, trips top the screen, Pepino. Pressure in his face, goes over the middle for Gunnarsson. It's incomplete, and Notre Dame's got to feel good, but Texas probably feeling good because of the time left.
I was surprised they didn't go for one more play. I would have. You still had a timeout. I'd try to go for the touchdown, but they're going to be happy, hopefully taking a 31-point lead into the half.
Well, it is good. The 30-yard field goal by Skylar Quall, able to give them the lead, and so far, Quall perfect this season, 6 for 6.
Well, Texas is going to be perfect after this game if nothing drastic changes. We've never seen a team come back from 31 and win. This might help.
Austin Gambas into the open field, but pushed out of bounds at the Texas 48, and that is how the half ends. And it's kind of been the story of the night here that Notre Dame has shown flashes offensively and defensively, and yet they're trailing by 31 to the visiting Longhorns.
Well, that's the problem, is they're showing flashes, and Texas is throwing the entire showing the entire thunderstorm. They're throwing it all out there, and Notre Dame's just giving you a little hint here and there. They got to put an entire drive together. They need their defense, which isn't playing horribly, but they need to come up with some big plays. They haven't been able to do it. Texas is putting together sustained drives. They're running the ball well. They're throwing the ball well. Notre Dame has started to clamp down a little bit more on that last drive. Gambas is looking, or Cash Jackson rather. No, it is Gambas. Gambas is running the ball on the returns well, though his last 2 returns. So they've got some guys that are stepping up and doing, but really they're going to have to rely on Asiata if they want to pull off the biggest comeback we've ever seen in this league.
You look at the 2 offenses, and both are passing fairly well, but the biggest difference, Texas's running game has been dominant compared to what Notre Dame has been able to muster.
Yeah, I mean, 350 yards of offense in one half is pretty impressive. We saw Oregon go over 620 in that win earlier this week, and that was impressive enough by itself. Texas, I don't know. a lot of teams kind of thought of them as maybe not up in that upper echelon, but they are proven to be one of the top teams in this league right now.
Well, Texas will start the second half with the ball in their possession, which is not good news if you're Notre Dame, because this high-powered offense takes the field yet again, looking to build on their lead, and it's been in big part because of that man right there, Vito Pepino.
Well, this is going to be a pivotal drive for Notre Dame. If they can force a three and out, or even get a turnover, and then turn that into a touchdown. You can't dink and dunk around with field goals. You got to get them off the field, and you got to get 7 points. You got to start the momentum going. If Texas moves this one all the way down the field, even if they only get a field goal, you got to kind of think that the hope is over for Notre Dame.
6 out of the last 7 drives by the Longhorns have ended in points, either a touchdown or a field goal. All of them have been into the opponent's red zone as they open up this drive with a gain of 6.
Well, and a nice 6-yard pickup on first down. It's not a lot, but again, 5-6 yards of play, that's going to get you all the way down the field.
Trips bottom of the screen for Vito Pepino, and they'll throw the bubble screen to that side. Gunderson showing a little bob and weave, and he is across midfield down to the Notre Dame 37.
Well, we're just seeing what the depth of Texas is doing here. A lot of people mocked Texas for going with so many 3-stars. They had a lot of depth, more depth than any other team when all was said and done after recruiting, but not a lot of star level. Well, those guys are showing. It's showing that, getting 20 guys on your roster, 16 new recruits, and a lot of 3-stars just provide depth is definitely helping them out.
And off to Raj Walker, blown up in the hole, yet able to spin out of it and come up with a modest gain of 4.
Yeah, they're doing a decent job of shutting down. He's only averaging 3.9, but he's fighting hard. He's bouncing off of tackles. He's had some nice runs. He's picked up some first downs. Really, Notre Dame's really got to push here and come up with something.
Brandon Black checks in as Pepino dancing right, throwing over the middle, pass caught. Guess who? Cash Jackson with a first down.
Well, he's up to 78 yards on only 4 catches, 19.5 average. That's a big play receiver out there. Comes up with a nice catch, and they're talking about it in chat about the blow. I mean, this is kind of reminiscent of Florida State hosting Michigan in season 2 when Michigan won that one 70-21.
Midline read, Vito Pepino lowering the shoulder, getting it out across the 8-yard line. Second down now as Pepino up over 100 yards rushing tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 100 yards rushing, 200 yards passing. I suspect he's going to keep adding to that. Going to have a pretty impressive night when it's all said and done, I feel like.
4 total touchdowns for him as Pepino throwing to add to it. Oliver Fields for 6.
Well-oiled machine. Again, they are explosive. They are well-coached. They are very balanced. And Notre Dame right now just has no answers for them. And Texas is able to do pretty much anything that they want. And Notre Dame right now about to be down by 38. And now at this point, you're kind of looking to just not be completely embarrassed in this game.
Yeah, and Mike, the biggest problem for Notre Dame has been they scored on their second drive, right? The first drive, 3 and out, they had to punt. The problem is their last 5 drives, they haven't been able to get into the Texas red zone, and those have ended all in punts outside of the fake punt that was a turnover on downs. This Notre Dame offense, as much credit as we give the Texas defense, that offense has had some struggles.
Cope points out, what about the Texas blowout at Penn State? That was like 70-3.
That was 70-7.
77. Yeah, so we've had 4 teams that have scored 70 in this league, Texas being one of them, and they got a shot to do it again.
Well, then you consider the legacy between these 2 teams. Notre Dame won the first national championship game in CFSL history, and then the first time we brought the playoffs back, we went to the bowl system for a while. Texas was the first team to win it under the new playoff system.
Yeah, they both have great histories, and Notre Dame, it's really interesting. They won the season 1 championship. They went to the Orange Bowl in season 4. They just had a very up and down. They're really good, and then they drop off a little bit. Then they get really good again. Then they drop off. This season, I don't know what to make of them yet.
Halfback screen, Kane St. III gets a couple yards, pushed out of bounds, and so brings us to 4th down.
Well, I will say this, and you can reference back to your season 2 season as being an AD. You got blown out by Hawaii in that game. It was like 66-31 or 13 or something like that.
That was bad.
And then you wind up going on a run late in the season, and you rematched them in a championship game, and you took them to double overtime in one of the greatest championship games we've had. So just because you get blown out one game does not mean your season's over.
Well, and if you remember that season, that was the season where Ohio State got blown out that game against Hawaii. Followed up the next week, going up near pick six there for Cody Schmidt. But followed up that game, they went to take on an Auburn team that had just knocked off a Michigan team who was undefeated. Ohio State won that game. It was a close one, 40-38. Then they follow that up with the 6-interception fiasco by DJ Moss. So
Against Notre Dame.
Against Notre Dame, believe it or not. And so they got blown out twice that season.
3 weeks.
Within the span of those 3 weeks. And yet strung together a stream of games to be able to make it to the Orange Bowl, face Hawaii. It was 1-2, so a true national championship game. And it was by far, one of the more heralded greatest national championship games that we have seen in the CFSL. Was that season 2 Orange Bowl. We've seen a lot of them, but those who were there for it swear up and down that's one of the best they've seen.
It's definitely one of the better games. And all that to say, Notre Dame's not out because of this game. You don't like it. It definitely hurts your ego. It doesn't look good for fans that are on looking that might have been thinking about coming to your program. However, if you can learn from it and you can take your lessons that you learn in a game like this and you can change it up and apply it to the rest of the season, you can turn your season around and you can make everybody forget about that game.
Asiata here to throw as Texas had to punt it back, and the drops continue for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Well, that's been a 8-season-long history for Notre Dame. Again, I don't know what it is with them. It might be their gloves, but they drop a lot of passes at this school.
Empty backfield, Asiata to throw, taking a shot down the left sideline. There's Jesse Dozier. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
They should have been looking for this early on. You've got to take shots like this before you're down by 38 points. You take them early on. Once you get down 14, you might as well take a shot. See if you can cut into that lead. You can't wait till you're down 38. They got the ability to do this. They have the talent on the field. They were just way too conservative early on. They let Texas build up this giant lead, and now all of a sudden they're trying to use that.
Amy Shalizzi has made it a 31-point game. The defense was able to force a punt on the previous drive, but that's been few and far between for both offense and defense, Texas and Notre Dame tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that Texas isn't going to take the pedal off the metal, so to speak. They were the #1 team in the power rankings, which some people didn't think was correct, and I think they used that as some motivation. And I think they're going to do as much as they can in this game.
Pepino to throw, and he'll swing it out on the wheel to Raj Walker. Gets it out across the 40, and so the light show continues for the Icy Whites.
A wheel route out of the backfield by the running back is typically designed to beat the defense for a big play.
Yeah.
And so you can see they're not just dinking and dunking like, oh, we're happy being up by 31 points. No, they want to get 70 again if they can, and be the first team in league history to put up 70 twice.
With 2 different quarterbacks. Pepino gonna tuck it and run. Didn't see anything like downfield, and then he slides, wanting no part of Zeus Williams. Probably not a bad decision.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's no point in risking turnovers or a big hit. So I don't have a problem with that there.
2-by-2 set as Pepino. Read option keeper with a first down and more. Vito Pepino leaving broken ankles in his tracks, and Notre Dame in the dust for 6.
I'm not sure we've seen a running quarterback like this since Javon Mack at Michigan or DJ Moss at Ohio State and Clemson. I mean, the ability to run and break big plays is something we haven't seen in a few seasons, and Pepino is really making a name for himself, both with his legs and his arm.
It's been impressive to watch tonight. And obviously, what this will end up being, Texas gets a conference win early on, improved to 2-0, and likely cementing themselves atop the power rankings for the second consecutive week. And then you've got Notre Dame, who 1-1, first conference loss. But the concern at some point, Mike, tiebreakers being point differential, that could hurt if it gets to that.
I think the biggest concern is that 2 of your first 3 games, including the exhibition game against LFU, have looked really bad. And so you've got to figure that out, and you've got to change things up. You looked great last week against Auburn, but you can't go from a big win and upset there and again be an underdog here at home and then play like this. You've got to figure out what's wrong, and you've got to be more consistent than this.
Well, Notre Dame will be right back here in South Bend next week. They'll play host to the Ohio State Buckeyes, another conference game, a big one. And last season, that one came down to the wire as Kane sinked the third on the halfback screen, able to move the sticks.
Well, they keep using him on the halfback screen, but he's only got 33 yards and 8 receptions. So I don't love it. I want to. If you're going to use that to set up another deep shot, cool. But if you're going to go back to the stinking dunk, just go to the locker room.
Asiata trying to stand in, and nothing downfield for him to take a shot too. So he goes to the flats, takes what's open, gets a few yards.
Well, part of their problem with throwing their deep routes is when they're running deep routes, most of it's four verts.
Yeah.
And so that was just the running back. It was the check down there because Texas played verts well downfield.
Pistol set, blitz coming. Asiata, left side, pass caught. John Hall out of bounds at the 9.
Again, they have the ability to do it. They've got the talent on offense. They got a quarterback who won Offensive Player of the Year last season. I don't know why they were so conservative early on. We've seen this a lot from this team in the Asiata era. I mean, early on in his career, freshman and sophomore year, we talked about how they would fall behind in games and it took them so long to get going. He did well last season, but they got to change this around.
The gun, a 2x2 set, read option keeper, and look at the big quarterback go for 6.
Well, finally, they get a touchdown. You know, they go with the read option. Again, not necessarily the ideal guy, but he's got some athleticism. He's big. He runs over the defender, gets into the end zone for a touchdown. I mean, maybe miracles can happen. I don't know. A touchdown Jesus is looking on, so who knows?
Well, they're able to respond to a touchdown by Texas. The problem is they're still down by 31, and the bigger problem is defense still does not have an answer for Vito Pepino, otherwise known as the Don, probably because of all the broken ankles he left out on the field in that last drive.
Well, he is definitely the godfather of all offensive players so far here in season 2. So I think he was appropriately named in high school.
Coming out to his own 25, Vito Pepino. Trips bunch to the right as Pepino going short to that right side, and a modest gain for Cash Jackson. And I mean, at this point, what are you drawing up if you're Texas as an offense? Like, what do you call that you haven't called yet?
You just keep doing what you're doing. You go short. Notre Dame comes up, plays press coverage like they're doing now. Now you hit them deep, which is probably going to happen.
Pepino to throw. Standing in, under pressure, breaks a sack, and then throws it away. Wisely so, as awkward as it looked.
Well, a good job there by the defense to create pressure. Good job by Pepino to get out of that. Looked like he lost the handle on the ball and was trying to force it forward, and it looked kind of funny.
It's coming as Pepino checks it down for the tight end Meeks, and he's able to move the sticks, and there is just no stopping this Texas offense.
Pepino is looking like a junior or senior quarterback. He is making all the right decisions. He's escaping pressure. Blitz coming again on that one. He feels the pressure coming. He dunks it off to the guy that's open and can get the first down. It's just really impressive to watch right now.
And he's only a freshman. So, I mean, we have 4 seasons of this from Texas, or at least you would expect. Wow, what a catch by Brandon Fowler. Had to climb the ladder to go get it, and somehow comes down with it among a sea of Irish.
If Pepino plays like this for the rest of his career, I think people will pay to get him out of the league after his junior year.
He might go down as the greatest quarterback of all time if he can keep this up for his entire career. Now, granted, it's 2 games.
Well, we saw Colt Youngblood
Yeah.
come out on fire last year, Clayton Denny.
Sure.
So we've seen it before. You know, 2 games does not make a career, but a really good debut from Giorgio Pepino.
Good debut from Pepino, and we've seen good debuts very rarely lead to great careers as Thor Gunderson gets 15. Ray Tatum is the only other quarterback who I can think of who started out, had a strong debut, didn't win a lot of games, but he looked really good, and then went on to finish with an outstanding career.
Well, he did, but the one thing with Tatum is he always struggled with turnovers.
Yeah.
Again, it's only 2 games. We haven't seen that yet from Pepino. He's been really smart with the football. I did call him Giorgio, which was his brother that played at Michigan at wide receiver. Vito is the quarterback.
Handoff, and Brandon Black getting his first carry of the night, and a physical run there to get 6. He had 3 carries last week and only for 3 yards.
Well, I thought when they got this backup running back, use him as a kick returner, cool, but I also thought he'd get 5 to 10 carries a
No.
game. But the way they've been throwing the ball, Walker just hasn't got run out.
Well, they run it to him again, and he'll get 9. So 1st and goal, and again, it's only the 8th carry of the night for Taraj Walker. So you talk about it, hasn't been worked a lot, and when the offense is clicking, why break what's...
Well, Pepino's running so well, too.
Yeah. Pepino to throw again, pressure off the edge, goes short. There's Brandon Black getting it down inside the 5.
Well, they're only about 4 yards away from the so-called 50 burger, as it was named several seasons ago. And so apparently the Longhorns wanting to make a burger.
Quick throw at the 2. Gunderson, no gain.
Now they're just showing off. They didn't even need to catch that pass, but he's just like, look what I can do.
Look at Vito Pepino, 25 of 34, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, and here they go, speed option, the pitch, Taraj Walker for 6.
Well, again, the Longhorns making burgers out there, 50 burger. I don't know how that works. It's a little strange, but 54 points on the board here for Texas after 48 last week, highest scoring team in the league. And what this has to do, not only is it a conference win, but I think it's got to put the fear in the rest of the teams. You remember back last season when Nebraska was doing what they did, and a lot of teams were scared to play them. They wind up getting removed from the playoffs due to sanctions. But a lot of teams, they didn't want to face Nebraska in the playoffs. And right now, I think a lot of people are looking at their schedule and seeing Texas on it, and they're like, I don't know if we really want to face them right now.
Well, one team who has to face them, obviously within the Big Ten, is the Oregon Ducks next week. And that game is taking place in Austin, where, the Longhorns will don their burnt orange and Whataburger-sponsored colors, you might think.
I don't know why we didn't put that as the Monday night game. Now I'm kind of kicking myself for that one a little bit. Maybe we have to flex schedule that one and move it on the Monday, because that looks like a tremendous matchup next week.
Yeah, you look at the way Oregon played against Florida State, close game. Ohio State comes in after a strong performance against USC. Close game between those two, or at least that was the expectation. Oregon made it not that way, and, really handled business. And look at Texas, and Texas is handling business for the 2nd straight week.
Now, 2 of the highest powered offenses in the league going at it. Newman says that a 50 burger is a 50% fat burger, and Allen says 50% fat with this burger. I agree. I always thought like a 50 burger was like 50% pork, 50% hamburger.
Yeah.
A 50% fat, that just doesn't even sound right.
No. And even if it was,
Who would want to eat
fat?
that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, like a 25% fat burger is a healthy fat amount of fat. Like,
Well,
I don't know, where do you get 50% fat on a cow?
Oh,
Where are you feeding that cow?
why are you putting it in the burger?
Yeah, I think Newman's he's indulged a little bit too much tonight, I think.
That must be the case. He's getting ready for a performance.
Yeah.
2nd game.
Oh yeah, maybe his mind's just off not on thinking straight, because he's preparing for the game he's about to play.
20 to 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game, Auburn has to go to Lincoln Memorial and take on Big Red, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, as both teams look to rebound after a loss last week. In both of those Week 1 games, heartbreakers for both teams who lost them.
They were, and it's going to be an interesting game. Both of those teams want to get a win. Even though it's a non-conference game, you don't want to start off 0-2, regardless of who you are. So I think it's going to be a fantastic game.
Asiato over the middle, and look, it only took until the 3rd quarter, but Notre Dame has gotten into the red zone on their last 3 drives.
Well, it's been a history of this team, starting slow in games and falling behind and then trying to mount comebacks. They did have a 28-point comeback, I believe it was in season 2, where they came back against Tennessee. They were down 28. They came back and they tied it up. They didn't win that game, but yeah, they just turned it on too late. They got to fix that.
That's how we end the 3rd quarter. 55-17 lead for the Longhorns. You're watching the CFSL on PX1 Sports on YouTube Live. So start of the 4th, and Notre Dame is looking to at least put up 20 against the Texas Longhorns, and they'll go the speed option themselves. Kane St. III gets it down to the 2, and nice little run there on 1st and goal.
Well, Kane St. III is no Taraj Walker. Apparently, he was able to spin his way into the end zone on that exact same play.
Well, Kane St. III is not the Kane St. III we saw last season. You remember his 175 rushing yard 3-touchdown performance against USC late in that season, and
That's had a 6-touchdown performance.
a 6-touchdown. That's
Yeah.
what it was. It was that 6-touchdown game against USC. 175 rushing yards and only like 23 carries.
Well, I mean, he's kind of been a microcosm in this Notre Dame team, just inconsistent. None of these guys have been super. Asiata's been his most consistent last season, but the rest of the team has been inconsistent. Asiata, ever seen inconsistent here early on.
Well, and the offense goes as the quarterback goes, and so Jesse Dozier being sent backwards as Asiata was sent backwards from what he was last season.
Yeah. Now they're going to go for it on a 4th down with 4 receivers out there.
And a walk-on in the backfield as Asiata, the left-handed quarterback, breaks a sack, end zone, touchdown, John Hall.
Well, I mean, if you can find moral victories, there is one to be found that Asiata doing a good job avoids the sack there, finds his receiver in the end zone, gets the touchdown. You know, it's still too little too late, but it's nice to at least see that. Find that. Find what you're doing right now. Figure out how to do it for an entire game.
So they tack on the extra point, 55-24 our score, remaining a 31-point lead. Texas in firm control.
So I want to address, Newman says fat is where the flavor comes from. And Alan disputes that, as I do as well. I do agree that you can dry out a low-fat burger, but I think the seasoning, you know, whether it's salt, pepper, whether it's some other kind of seasoning, the seasoning is what makes the burger, not the fat.
Well, I would argue, too, the way, not just the seasoning for the burger, but just the way you prepare the burger in general, you know, is what really offers you the flavor for the burger. Now, can fat offer some flavor? Sure, but that's not the flavor you really want in the burger.
I would say if you get a low-fat burger that's cooked very well, I almost would say that that's more flavorful because you're not tasting fat, you're tasting good meat.
You're tasting the meat, you're tasting the seasoning, the way it was prepared, and you know you get to enjoy that more. Newman, leave the cooking to the professionals.
Well, yeah, David has been the chef du jour since he's got here. I've cooked a little, as has Allie, but I mean, he says he was a cook. He says he's the professional. And I don't disagree with him that you need some fat usually.
Yeah.
But I have had great success with low fat, and here goes Pepino again.
Breaking ankles down the left sideline, and nobody can catch him. Another 50-yard touchdown run for Vito Pepino. He's had 3 of them tonight, 4 touchdown runs of 20-plus yards, it would seem like.
Well, I hate to say it, but are we just going to hand him the Offensive Player of the Week again? I mean,
how can you not?
Nobody has started their career with 2 back-to-back Offensive Player of the Years or Player of the Weeks.
Right. Well,
and I don't know how he doesn't get it again.
I was going to say, how can you dispute it? Who has played this week that can contest this?
I mean, unless Newman does something, but I think he's too focused on burgers right now and justifying having a heavy fat burger. I think there's balance. I don't disagree that a 25% fat burger, seasoned well and cooked well, is probably the best way to go, but I have had good success with lower fat burgers.
Well, it's like anything, right? It comes down to taste and personal preference. It's kind of like the conversation, you know, we had today regarding potato salad. You know, for some, it's enjoyable. For some, not so much. And so
burgers
depending on
burgers.
Well, everybody likes a burger, but some burgers.
Except for vegans, and they.
Well, sure, but I mean, you could argue, you know, what burger do you, enjoy more? Do you enjoy Whataburger more? Do you enjoy Wendy's more? Any response other than Whataburger is wrong.
Correct.
But some people have different preferences. We would call them strange. To choose Whataburger.
Well,
to not choose Whataburger.
You know,
but again,
some people identify as attack helicopters.
But I mean, again, the bottom line is, you know, everybody's tastes differently. Some prefer, you know, more fat to their burgers, and some not so much.
Yeah. Again, I think I think a 20 to 25% fat is probably the way to go, especially if you're grilling it. Now, I will say that grilling a burger, a low-fat burger, that one becomes hard to stay flavorful because that can dry out.
Yeah,
but if you're frying them, you can fry a low-fat burger.
Oh, for
but
sure.
you're also putting more fat into it, so it kind of defeats the purpose.
Asiata on a long third down underneath for Dozier, and
Well, okay, here's the bad news, or the good news if you're Texas or just the fans of
the chances
hysteria. Pepino's got 6.5 more minutes still to play offense. I wonder
because he needed to, more time to
So-
solidify the offensive player of the week.
do you think that Texas, having a Longhorn as the mascot, do they eat less beef? Because Chick-fil-A
Yeah.
has the cow that says "eat more chicken."
Yeah, eat more chicken. Sure.
Very poor phonetically spelled.
Spells, yeah. Oh yeah.
Poor grammar by that
Yeah.
poor cow.
Poor spelling.
But the cow says eat more chicken. So is Bevo upset if Texas eats a lot of beef?
But here's the other side of things, is that Texas is wearing Whataburger colors. So, I mean, is there a conflict of interest here?
I think Texas was here before Whataburger, so maybe Whataburger's wearing Texas colors.
Well, okay. Now, see, that does change things. And if that's the case, I mean, how upset could Bevo? As long as Bevo's not being the one eating.
Well, as long as he's not talking to the Chick-fil-A mascot, then he's
that
probably okay. Maybe he doesn't understand. That Chick-fil-A mascot, somebody informed him. They just didn't teach him how to spell.
Well, Texas continues to move the ball. Pepino finding Cash Jackson, and they're 6 for 9 on third down. So clearly that's not an issue for them. Not just finding themselves in third down situations, but converting them. As Pepino, a rocket on the sideline, and that is a rare occurrence. A dropped pass.
It was 3rd and inches. They could have easily ran the ball, which I kind of preferred they would have. But they're so arrogant right now. They're just like, I'm going to throw a 15-yard out route. It's okay on 3rd and inches. I think they are going for the jugular here. Now we'll see if it comes back to bite them, and if Notre Dame chips into this lead a little bit.
Well, they have 5.5 minutes to play, so they can chip into it. They can make it look a little bit better on the scoreboard. At this point, I think Texas kind of say we own this.
Well, let's see. If Notre Dame can get a 1-play touchdown, kick the ball off, get a 3-and-out, get another touchdown in 3 plays, get another stop on a 3-and-out or a turnover, and then another touchdown, and then an onside kick, and then another touchdown, and then another onside. They might have a chance.
The more you talk, I could just see the chances for Notre Dame to pull that off dwindle.
Yeah,
the more you spoke, the longer that went, the more their chances shrunk.
If we had the Amazon Web Services, the AWS, where they showed the baseball player and show what his chances are depending upon his lead off of first base, I'm sure their chances would not be very high for Notre Dame right now. But I also wouldn't say they're at 0.0.
No. Over or under 5%? That's the question.
Whoa, they're definitely under.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, at least we said settled that.
I think it would be over under 0.5%.
Oh, okay. All right.
So the odds are slim.
Very slim.
5 in 1,000.
Very improbable.
Or 1 in 200.
Very improbable. Though when you phrase it like 1 in 200, that sounds better. There's a shot there. Jesse Dozier gets it down inside the 10, inside of 5 minutes. And Dozier, what a game he's having. 7 catches.
Well, we definitely haven't seen 238-point leads in this league. So there is a chance that by the time we see 238-point leads, that one team will have come back and surmounted that deficit. Maybe.
Possible.
Maybe the 0.5 is generous.
It could be. And off Kane St. the third, and he'll lose 4 against his Texas defensive line. I'm just trying to picture what kind of an offense that would have to be able to surmount a 38-point comeback. Couldn't be. I almost offer to say that it would have to be an offense.
Would have to be a very good defense too.
Well, that would.
But see, how does a really good defense and offense find themselves that
far behind?
in a hole?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, what kind of a defense would that have to look like? What kind of an offense would that have to look like? I kind of think of Hawaii's offense back in season 2 when they had all that talented wide receiver on offense. Mainly that they could just light it up 1 week with every different receiver.
I never saw them falling behind that far.
That's what I'm saying, though.
One thing I could maybe see, if we ever got to the point where injuries are on, and a starting quarterback goes out, and then the backup throws a couple interceptions, and the other team gets some momentum. That's the one thing that I could maybe see.
Pass batted away on Asiata's 51st.
Asiata's numbers don't look poorly.
No.
They just couldn't run the ball, and they couldn't stop a nosebleed on defense.
Well, and the bigger problem is...
And you know a lot about trying to stop nosebleeds.
I do. I've had a lot of those. Like,
saline solution.
That works.
That's what
it
the
does work.
Notre Dame defense needs.
Yeah, they need some of that, but they needed more than that because they didn't start.
I think they needed some lube after this game.
Oh, all right. That's a little far. Well, what I was going to say was Notre Dame didn't start taking shots downfield until the third quarter. I mean, so that plays a role.
Well, yeah, they definitely played too conservative early on.
So, I mean, that doesn't help you. 4:05 to play, and Texas is saying, can we get 70? I mean,
will they go for 2 if they score?
Well, that's an even better question. Well, they're going to run it with Taraj Walker, so it looks like they might be starting to let the foot up off the gas.
I'm not buying it.
Oh,
It's
really?
Texas. I don't know.
But this isn't Javon Mack at quarterback.
No, maybe we don't
Okay,
know much
to be
about
fair,
Pepino.
all right, to be fair, this is, I say that,
It
and
is
then I
Juvie
remember.
at AD.
Well, I say that, and then I remember that his nickname is the Don, so he might be actually worse than Javon Mack in those situations. But they go back to Walker on second down.
Well, here I just feel like on 3rd and 7, why not take a shot for the end zone?
Sure. Cash Jackson. Field.
Jackson or Field are your likely candidates.
Oliver Fields last week had 6 catches, 131 yards, and a touchdown. And it's not quite had that kind of game so far. Now they go halfback screen, but look at that, it works. And Brandon Black gets it down inside the 15. What isn't working for this Texas offense?
Well, they called it at the right time. Notre Dame was in a cover 4. Everybody's playing back deep, and they're not expecting that. They're playing a zone coverage, which allows the blockers to get out in front, seal off blocks, and Black is able to pick up a big gain there. And now, I mean, at this point, you might as well punch it in. I don't think you're going to get 70, but
Unless you go for 2.
Well, you could get to the always favored 69.
Pino looking to take time off the clock here. 4 wide, excuse me, and a 2-by-2 set with Black to his left. So he's going to let it tick down inside of 3 minutes because why not? This is relaxing time for him.
Yeah, let's take some time off the clock and, let's score some more.
Draw play, Brandon Black gets it down inside the 10, and a nice little gain of 6 there.
I don't know who 87 is, but he just laid a monster pancake block out there. He's not on my depth chart. He's probably one of the backup tight ends, but good Lord.
Taraj Walker in the backfield, checking back in to the left of Pepino as they continue to let time churn away.
Yeah. So Nebraska, Auburn.
I mean, look, man, Auburn in that game, Newman hit Peyton Miles as time expired. They could have won that if Miles doesn't have to lay out for it as, oh, look at that. There's 68 on the board, courtesy of Pepino. 4 passing touchdowns in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. It's been a crazy, impressive debut for Vito Pepino, and he was kind of an unheralded quarterback in the draft class.
Talked about.
Newman was the big guy, and then everybody else kind of just fell in there. I mean, Pharaoh Burks and Bradley Rinquist, but didn't even wind up at quarterback. We're kind of the more heralded ones.
Jimmy Germain was another one of those quarterbacks who went under the radar.
Yeah, and then Pepino just, I've said this before. I don't know if Tom Brady is Tom Brady if he was a first-round draft pick. Right. And maybe Pepino's not Pepino if he was the number 1 quarterback.
I'll say this, though, because we have seen stretches of play like this from quarterbacks, right, where they play flawlessly for such a span of time. I think of Ray Tatum towards the end of his career. I think of Griffin Yelkich towards the end of his time with Auburn, that all of a sudden they seem to hit a wall where play catches up to him or defenses figure him out, and then turnovers just start flying all over the place like crazy in subsequent weeks.
It can happen. I mean, for sure. I don't know if there's anything to it. I think Ray Tatum was just bad focus, bad performance, bad luck. A lot of that probably plays into it. We'll see what Pepino ends up doing. Can he play like this all season? I doubt it, but we never know.
And as a freshman, and you know, it's one of those conversations, right? Because, and it was brought up in Link Chat the other day. What would you rather do? Would you rather start out hot and get into the playoffs, kind of back your way in, or miss the playoffs entirely like a Florida? You start 3-0 last season, you miss the playoffs. Or do you get hot at the right time? And is that a concern for Texas?
No.
You're starting out really hot. Are you going to stumble down the stretch and miss the playoffs?
I don't know, but they just had a chance at a pick six, which would have been 76 points, which would have been the record for points scored in a single game.
By one team.
Yeah, that would have been something.
Either way, they, you know, Notre Dame punting it away, and Texas going to have good field position as Brandon Black.
I was going to say, if we got a punt return touchdown in a 69-27 game, to be the second one since week one or since season one, yeah, I don't know.
That'd be something. So Auburn or Nebraska?
A lot of questions to be answered for those two teams.
I mean,
Newman was okay, but struggled. Fountain got away from what made him so great last season.
Yeah.
Their defenses, you know, played well, but they didn't get maybe as many big performances as they were expecting. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think both of those teams need to come out hot. We'll see. Can they do it?
Well, and Auburn offensively started out of the gate pretty slowly last week against this Notre Dame team, and then as the game went on, they were able to get their stride and made a game of it late.
He has 8 touchdowns in this game, by the way. 4 passing and 4 rushing, which is one behind Blake Moon's record, and it is the most that we've ever seen in a game that didn't include overtime.
Yeah, that Blake Moon game included triple overtime, if you remember correctly. So can we just see anything Offensive Player of the Award trophy now? Like, can we just be done with it?
Wow. Impressive.
Well, that's how we end this first game. We'll be back in about 20 to 30 minutes with Auburn and Nebraska from Lincoln on a night where Vito Pepino did a 4-4, 4 passing, 4 rushing, as Texas handles business in South Bend. For Mike, I'm David. We'll see you back here in about 20 to 30 minutes for Auburn, Nebraska. We'll see you then.